Welcome to Tuesdays with Gotham Quilts. I think I
Yay,
got it
you
right this
got
time. It only took me like 2 months or probably longer than that. I am Andrea, and we
Uh-oh.
have I didn't get it right. It's live with Gotham
We
Quilts.
just
I don't
get we
know.
get pop-up messages in the background where that
Yeah,
corrects
try to
us.
sneak that Tuesdays
Excellent.
in for some reason. Yeah, I should drop the Tuesday since I never know what day it is anyway. Um, anyway, I'm Andrea. And we have Jen here tonight too. And we are going to talk to you about some of my journeys. Or not my, I don't I'm trying to read and talk at the same time, and that's not something I should be doing. Um, so we're going to talk to you tonight about some of our journeys, and several of you have taken journeys with us. So you guys know what they're all about already, but a lot of people don't. And you may have been wondering, we're actually starting a new round coming up in January, and signups are closing this weekend. I think Monday actually, to sign up for the January start of the journeys. And we have a color. Oh, sorry, they're not journeys anymore either.
All right.
They're something else.
They're the
Um,
same thing, but we changed the names a little bit.
so yes, so the color, what used to be Color Journey, which I teach, is now called Color for Quilters, which is a little bit more descriptive, so that works well. So I teach that one. We are going to be meeting on the third Wednesday of every month. So what we do is usually we meet for one meeting a month. It's around an hour or two. And we talk about challenges, we share what we've done, talk about color, all that good stuff. And the book that we work from is Rachel Howard's The Quilter's Field Guide to Color. So this is a really good book. This will be the fifth or sixth time. The class is starting in January. Will be the fifth or sixth time that I'll be doing the Color for Quilters / Color Journey, and it's gone really well. This is such a really fun book to look at, to use, to work through. So it has several what she's calling challenges. She'll have a swatch challenge and then a fabric challenge. So there is some sewing involved if you want to. You don't have to. But it is specifically geared towards quilters and people that use fabric, which is nice because you can take a color theory class and learn about color just about anywhere, but this specifically applies it to quilting and working with fabric. So we also talk about, pattern and, the scale and some of that kind of stuff that you want to work in to get a good assortment in a quilt. So one of the major bonuses of this book, though, is in the back, she has 150 color swatches. Open this one up. Yep. Yes. So these are still in the book. Jen has very nicely cut all of her swatches out and put magnets on the back so she can move them around on her whiteboard, play with them, but still keep them, ordered if she prefers to, which is really something I should have done after 4 years. Mine are still in a Ziploc bag, but maybe I'll get to that. But the good thing about having those swatches is because we meet online and we're all in different places with different lights and looking at different screens, colors are not going to look the same to all of us. But with the swatches, we can know, if one person says they're using 117 fern, we can all look at our 117 fern swatch and know that we're all talking about the same color. And we do get into some little nitty gritty. Is this color more blue than that color, or is this more saturated than that? Some of that kind of stuff that might sound scary to some people now, but we do take it slow. We start at the very beginning and learn a little bit more each month. And it really is a great way to become more confident using color. And I think that's one of the biggest things really is confidence. I hear people say all the time, I'm no good at it. I'm scared of it, and those are perfectly reasonable feelings, but most of the time you are good at it, and you're just not comfortable with it.
It just
So
needs some practice.
exactly, exactly, and, maybe learning some language about how to talk about color. Um, so this way, through the course of a year, you with all the challenges and, talking about it, that we do, you're gonna have a much better grasp of some of the language about color and, be able to talk about it a little bit more comfortably, but more importantly, be able to use color more confidently. Being able to go into a fabric store and, knowing what you're looking for, what you need, what you don't need. Um, Having a little bit more of an intuitive idea about what colors might go well together. And like anything else, the more you do, the better you get. So, how they say practice makes perfect. You don't need to be perfect. There really is no perfect when it comes to color, or many things in that regard. But it's really, not being scared and having the confidence to go out and do. And that's really what it's all about. So, I'm gonna guide you through this class and get you more comfortable with color. And a lot of these challenges are really fun. So, for example, one of them is um, use your favorite piece of artwork for inspiration and choose a color palette based on your favorite piece of art. Feelings, there's all kinds of stuff. So we go through the whole thing, um, and the challenges are even if you are comfortable with color. To be honest, the challenges are a fun way to just kind of get those juices flowing and and you know kind of push yourself a little bit more. So even if you've taken color theory and you know everything, it still could be fun to do this. You could also just get the book by itself, but most of us, we have plans and then we never get to those plans. And I've also heard this from a lot of people. I took this class just to make this quilt, or I took this class to do this. Like I didn't really need to take the class, but that's what got me to do the thing I wanted to do. So this book and the color for quilters is a it's just really fun. Like if you like talking about color and using color, it's really fun for that. And if you are interested in learning more about color and becoming more confident using color, it's really good for that.
I thought it was really, really inspirational each month too. Like even if I was going to do the book by myself, I would do the first chapter and that's it. I mean, in class, at least I'm going to get through the fourth chapter before.
Right.
But it's really good. Like you make friends in class, and like I always want to see what everybody's doing every month, and then I don't want to show up with nothing. But
Hmm.
I liked in the book that like there's the swatch challenge.
Hmm.
That's super easy every month. It's just picking four of your little magnets and taking a picture, and then you can do the fabric. But like even if I just did this, at least I did something and I was there to chat. Really
Yes.
nice.
Yes. And that's a very good point. Seeing what other people do is also super helpful because they come up with things or questions that you hadn't thought of. And so you're learning from them as well. And yeah, seeing what everybody gets to do, it's really fun. Depending on how you structure it, you might end up with a quilt at the end of the 12 months. Some people do, not everybody. That's totally up to you. And so there is homework, but this isn't, you're not getting graded. Nobody's going to mark you down if you don't have your challenge done every month. That's totally fine. Um, if you have to miss a month, that's fine too. All of the classes or the meetings are recorded so that if you do miss it, you can go back and watch it later. We have something similar to Facebook where we'll have a feed that you can post pictures, get comments, ask questions, that sort of thing. So even if you're not going to be at the meeting, you could put your challenge up and we can talk about it. And then when you watch the video later, you'll get to see the comments that were made about your project. So you can still be involved, even if you're not able to come to every meeting because we have lives. So that's the gist of the color for quilters. You can see the QR code here on the screen. There's also a link in the description below. So that'll take you to our website where you can get all the information and go ahead and sign up. And the class comes with the book, the Quilter's Field Guide to Color. But there is also an option to get a bundle, a fabric bundle, if you already have the book, because who needs 2 books? So go to the website, check that out. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and type them here in the chat, and we'll do our best to get those answered while you're still here. If you think of some later, just give us an email. We're happy to answer those too. And I think now we'll talk about the embroidery classes now.
I have a question about the bundle. Is
Yes.
it enough fabric to do the whole class?
No.
Just get you started?
Basically, yes. So the amount of fabric you're going to need is so hugely variable, um, depending on all kinds of things. Most of us quilters have a stash. I'm not telling anyone to go buy anything for this because most people are going to have, a good enough stash. If you're just starting quilting, you might not. But if you don't want to or can't do the patchwork challenges with the fabric, you can always just use the swatches. You could, you could go get paint chips or something from the hardware store. There's ways to kind of get around that if you feel like you need to. But most quilters I know either have a stash or are happy to go buy fabric. So, but if you don't fall into that category, you can still, don't let that scare you. We'll definitely work with you and figure something out.
All right. Embroidery 101. I have 2 embroidery classes next year that we're teaching, or that I'm teaching, Embroidery 101 and Embroidery 201. In Embroidery 101, we are going to work through Creative Stitching by Sue Spargo. This is a 2nd edition. She did recently reprint it. So when I go over some things in the book the first month, I think she's got different kinds of threads called out because this book is 2017. And I think some of the companies that she favors have changed, but that's the only difference that we found in the book so far.
Right. So the content is still the same.
Right. I was recently traumatized to discover this. So now I feel like I got to put that information out front.
Yeah, because they kind of slipped that in, that it was a new version without really mentioning it.
But luckily it's really not a big deal. The stuff in the book about specific threads is really more of a commercial, and these are Sue's favorites. You can use
Right.
whatever you want. So this class, we are going to meet on the 2nd Wednesday of the month, starting in January. And we are going to, each month, we go over between 7 and 10 stitches in the book. I only have added 2 stitches that I thought were basics that aren't in here. And we have our space in our Gotham community, in our Mighty Network space. And each month you'll get actually the whole thing unlocks at once. But each month there's a group of stitches. Each stitch in the book, there are diagrams, which I love. But when you first start, here, let's get a really good one. Oh, this one's great. This is one I complain about all the time. When you first start, when you see a diagram like this, my initial instinct is, what the hell is this? What is this? What?
Yep.
It's a little overwhelming. But we walk through it easily. We start super basic with the running stitch, and then we get all the way up to super complicated stuff that looks like knitting almost, and 3-dimensional stitches and beading and a little bit of silk ribbon, just 1 silk ribbon flower. But each month you have your diagrams in the book, and then you have videos of me, short videos. I don't think any of them are more than like 5. Maybe some of the really wild ones are like 10 minutes, but you have a video for each stitch. And then we have our meeting where we socialize. I'll demonstrate and answer questions if anybody has gone over stuff. Before class, ideally, everybody will have at least watched the videos so that they know what's going to confuse them. But I'm fine with going backwards. Like, if there's something from month 1 that's confusing you in month 12, let's go over it and let's figure it out now. But the stitches do get harder as we go along. And by the end of the year, you'll be able to do wild stuff. I did this. This is all stitches in the book and a little bit of wool applique. We do talk about wool applique a little bit, not a lot. It's not my main focus. It's something that she covers in the book. And if you follow Sue Spargo, she's all about the wool.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the wool, but we have a student next year who's allergic to wool and can't stitch with wool. So we're going to talk about other things that we can applique with. And if we want to get that same kind of wool thickness, what we could substitute. The first year we did it, there was no project. It was just embroider whatever you want. That wasn't well received. So now we have a project, and it is this stitch book, and it's a sampler, and it needed a certain amount of pages. So there's extra stuff. There's an alphabet that I did. It's all couching, and you have a pattern for that. And then there is, each month has a different little sampler. And then, so there's February, and every once in a while, somebody will point out something that I've spelled incorrectly, which surprises me. Last time it was the cover of the book. Sometimes I spell stitch wrong all the time. I had missed a T. But then there's one I love. My favorite stitch is the running stitch, which is super basic. And when you change it, you can do different things to make it look very, very complicated. These are the running stitch too. And then some stray French knots when somebody in class must have asked me a question. But each month we do a little sampler page, and students have started writing the names of the stitches under them to help. But it's just really fun. And then we put it together into a little book. So you have a little keepsake showing you what you did that year, and you can refer to it and go back.
Yeah, that's a great reference.
Yeah, and it's really fun. I actually really like the pages where, like, at the beginning of the row of stitches, my stitches are crap, and then they get way better as I go along. Like, and you can see it right there. You get better.
Yeah.
So I really like it. I like to go take a deep dive on anything and get better. And I feel like this class has really helped me master embroidery and be really comfortable with it. And now whenever I see stuff online, I know I can figure out how to do it, especially if I can find a video, like, no problem. But it's been a lot of fun. So that's embroidery 101. And that comes with, oh yes, complete beginners are totally welcome. I will help you thread your needle if you need. No problem. And there's no stupid questions in embroidery class. They're all good questions, because most of the time I looked the answers up too. I wasn't, my grandmother taught me how to do embroidery when I was little, but she didn't do it the right way either. So everything that I knew when I started learning was just kind of like, well, Honey said, like, to tie a knot, she'd like wrap it around my finger and then lick it. And then we don't have to do it. There's no licking involved. No licking required. If you want to lick, we're all on Zoom. Go nuts. So the basic class comes with the book and the needle set. And I have a needle. I don't have all the tubes with me, but the needle set comes with, I think it's 10 different needles. And we go all kinds of needles. We've got 3 different sizes of milliner's needles, which are really nice when you're doing, well, they're my favorite. When you're doing like French knots and wrap stitches, then we have these like crazy long darners that are a certifiable weapon, although I have brought them on airplanes. We've got applique needles, which I lose, so I don't have any in my thing. And so your kit comes with all the needles and these little labels to put them in. And then you can get a pattern to do a stitch book if you want. A needle roll, that's what this is. So that's what the basic kit comes with. We also have an option for a thread pack. And you can kind of swap out all kinds of things. You can get the needles and the thread and not the book, if you have the book already, because a lot of people have the book. It's been around for a while. Are those all the things? I can't remember. There wasn't a fabric option, right?
Not for this one, no. Yeah, it was needles, book, thread, right.
Okay. And the thread, I think, is like 7 or 8 spools of thread that I picked that are the basic ones that are used in the book. So we get we get 3 pearl cottons in 3 different weights. We get, I'm not going to be able to remember them all. There's a bunch of fancy ones, stuff that you wouldn't necessarily pick up and play. You wouldn't have in your stash.
We have a gimp, a couple of pearl cottons, a razzle and a dazzle.
Yep. There's a rayon thread and a rayon with metallic. That's what the razzle and the dazzle are. Gimp is really thick and fun to play with. Yeah. So, and pretty colors. And then it'll come with some silk ribbon too, if I'm able to source that again. Yeah, there's the gimp. It's so thick. It's hard to pull through, but it is totally worth it. It's excellent to couch with.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This must be for couching.
Yeah.
And the pretty, this must be Dazzle.
I get the
Yeah,
razzle and
Dazzle.
the dazzle confused. I'm not sure. I think I
The
use,
Dazzle is the sparkly one.
yeah, okay.
Razzle is a whatchamacallit one.
Is it matte? Is that, does it have
Variegated.
variant? Yeah.
And then we've got the Eleganza and
I have trouble. They're probably all variegated because I don't
yeah.
like solid color thread.
Oh, weird. These are both, oh, because they're different sizes. So
They're
both
different
of these are the
sizes.
pearl cotton, but in different sizes.
Yep. So we've got it in 3 weight, 5 weight, and 8 weight.
That's why
It's
they
so
don't look. I was like, these are both the same thing. That can't be right.
Yep. Because
But it is.
you get different effects with different weights of thread. So this is a great class to play with stuff, play with different threads, play with different needles, learn what all that stuff is. And then when you're ready to go on to embroidery 201, what people have asked me for the most is combining the stitches. And that's one of the things in the Sue Spargo, in the creative stitching book, there's lots of pictures with combinations of stitches and no instructions because Sue Spargo is a goddess of marketing and her goal is to sell you stuff.
Mhm.
And so what she wants you to do is buy her other patterns, but we give her a lot of business. So we're going to spend some time with Valerie Bothell for embroidery 201. And this is more of a standard, traditional crazy quilting kind of stuff. But she has, let's see, I've got, what do I have my tags on? She's got a bunch of different projects. So she has, I think it's like 100 different stitches in here, different individual stitches. I don't know. I didn't take time to put the tags in. But then she combines them in all these different kind of like rows of stitches. And it's
Cool.
really fun. And she has beading and stuff in there too. So she shows you how to combine the stitches to get really cool effects and then do these crazy quilting projects. And it's going to be structured the same way. There will be, here's a little wreath.
Neat.
So the space will be the same. The space will have different videos for each stitch. And then we will have our meetings. And I'll probably focus on one of the projects in the book instead of reinventing the wheel this time. So, but we will be meeting, both classes will be meeting together this year. So 101 and 201 will meet together in the evening on, I think it's 7:00 on Wednesday nights, second Wednesday night, because the socializing is the fun part.
Mhm.
And that way we can all socialize together. And people who, I don't know, that made sense to me. And nobody in my other classes has protested. They think it sounds like a good idea too. So we'll see. If we hate it, we can change it. But
And it's a good way to learn from each other too.
yeah. Yeah. And get excited about stuff because there is a lot of overlap. I mean, once you learn 100 stitches,
Yeah.
there's not that many other stitches.
Right.
And a lot of stitches you'll learn like, okay, so the difference between this stitch and that stitch is this one's going that way.
Right.
Then we change the name into something entirely different.
Yeah. Just to, keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah. And this class comes with a book and if you click on the link in the description below, you'll see all the different options and iterations. I'm sure there's a thread pack too, and it might be the same one. I'm not sure. It's been a while since we set it up and I forgot. So, but Yvette will pop up with a note in a second. There we go. It's a different thread pack. Excellent.
And which I don't have a sample of at the moment, so I can't show you that one.
I wonder what I put in there. It might all be eleganza threads. It may just be pearl cottons just for, yep, all eleganza pearl cottons, probably all the same weight so that we can just do color play and play with the stitches. And
yeah, and if you're combining stitches, you probably want similar threads. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I was not a big fan of embroidery when we started, and I am an embroidery super fan now. I was embroidering.
I didn't realize that you weren't a fan of embroidery when you started.
No, it wasn't my favorite thing. I didn't really know what it was, and the Sue Spargo was totally intimidating. I started with the needle roll.
Yeah.
And the first one was like, do this super complicated stitch. And I didn't know what it was. And I couldn't read the diagram and I had to go find videos. And now I'm very proud of my skills.
Yes, you should be.
I really like them. But like, yeah, this here, I'll show you what it was. It was 182, page 182. Whenever anybody tells me to open a book and go to the back, I freak out. I don't like that. But this was the first one I had to learn. And that's confusing.
That is a little confusing, yeah.
So, but of course, the first year we went in order through the book, and then I realized that wasn't a good idea. So now we don't go in order through the book either.
Because you've done it enough times, you figured out the order that actually makes the most sense.
Right. And the book was never for that. The book was
Right.
just because she teaches all these really super complicated projects and she needed a reference to give people.
Yeah, so it's a reference book. It's not necessarily a teaching book. So that's where Jen comes in. So you can follow along with the book, but have someone explain it to you and actually do it in front of you or on video so that you can get the most out of the book.
Yep. And I will say, if you are left-handed, you are going to need to seek some other resources. I am strongly right-handed. I've had some lefty students. I know, and I can send them. I know some people who do left-handed stitching and teach it, and I can send you to other places. But I'm not super helpful with that. I'm very supportive.
You just mirror your screen?
I don't think left-handed stuff works that way.
Interesting.
But I'm not sure. So
Okay.
yeah, that's the only thing that I've heard. We have Arlene in class and she's great, but lefty stuff is confusing to me as some of the righty stuff is to her, but she seems to do okay with it.
Good.
So just so you know, if you're left-handed, I may need you to help me figure out how to help you.
Most left-handed people are kind of used to being neglected, so
right. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do next year, all 12 months, and I think it's gonna be fun.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's a
I think it'll be
great take along. Embroidery is really fun to, especially after you master a stitch, you can just take it with you and go.
Yeah.
It's been like, because I like to take projects with me all the time, especially I've been doing a lot of doctor office things lately. Embroidery is way easier than any kind of quilting.
Sure, that's for sure.
So
yeah, much more portable.
Yeah. Oh, and then you can put your needle minder on your shirt and run around the house with needles.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Be stylish, but better than putting them in your mouth. Don't put needles or pins in your mouth.
Right. Right.
And
I got the
do as I
nurses
say,
yelling
not as
about
I
that
do.
once in a while. So
Yeah.
But
Okay,
yeah.
I haven't seen any questions come up, so I guess you guys are all experts and know exactly what we're talking about. Or you've just gone to the website, clicked on the links, or scanned the QR code and went to the website and probably found the answer you were looking for. But once again, if you do come up with any questions that you don't see the answers to, feel free to send us an email. And we're looking forward to having another year of successful classes and journeys. I know I really enjoyed teaching the color. I love working with color, and getting to share that with other people is always really fun. So I'm looking forward to it. I think Jen's looking forward to it. I know she's put a lot of planning into the second, the level 2, which is great. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with there. And I think that about wraps it up. We don't really have any housekeeping.
Tomorrow we have thread talks with Steph
yeah.
Scargone, and she is talking about. Actually, let me look up so I can tell you.
Yes,
exactly
thank you for remembering that. I had forgot. I always forget. I'm so bad about remembering these.
Steph's a modern quilter, and let's see. I never put the talk description in. Pushing your creative boundaries.
Whoops.
I have it too. I don't know what happened.
So if you were waiting to see what tomorrow's talk was going to be, Jen will put that information up soon, and you can check the website. And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, the first of the month, we do what we're calling thread talks. We invite in a speaker that we like to listen to and share their lecture with anyone that signs up, really. And you can go to our website, look up Thread Talks, and the one for December It is, yes, it is December. And we also have a QR code here on the screen now. And if you are a member of Club Gotham, you actually get all of these talks for free, but you do still have to register for them. So as long as you're signed into your account, you can put it in your cart. It'll show up. It'll show a balance until you go to check out, and then it will be free if you're under your account. And if for some reason that's not happening, go ahead and sign up anyway and send us an email, and we'll take care of any weirdness. But yeah, we've had some really good speakers. There's been some really interesting stuff.
I'm
So
excited about Steph. I think she's won ribbons at QuiltCon.
several
Let's
of the
see.
people we've had talk have.
Yeah. So it says, in this lecture, I will present my favorite topic of creativity and how we think about it as quilters. What is creativity? How do we grow it? And what blocks our creative practice from growth? I'll share my framework for growing in my own creativity, including sharing many quilts created within that framework. I will then cover exercises and resources to support you in creating your own framework to grow your creativity practice. These are the kind of talks I love.
Yeah, that's another thing I hear from people a lot. Like, I'm not creative and, I can't come
Right?
up with anything. But again, it's really what you're comfortable with. Um, but yeah, creativity, it is something that, most of us, when we're little kids, we're super creative. And as you get older, the world weighs down on you and you're not as good at coming up with ideas for some of us. A few of us have been able to hold on to our creativity and imaginations, but it's hard. So yeah, getting some ideas and prompts for how to think about things differently is great.
I love seeing how successful artists who I admire, I love knowing the behind the scenes of how they
Yeah.
do it. And so often it is just do it, just practice and do more of it and
Yep.
evaluate it. And it's
Yep.
actually been really, really helpful. I only had to hear like 300 people tell me that
Right.
before it
But
sank.
yeah, it's true. You just got to do it. I see no, I can't even talk. Naomi is asking how many people are in the color class. I think as of now, there's about 12. We could get more. We keep it open to like 40 or something. We don't usually have everyone at the meeting. So, don't let that intimidate you if a big group is intimidating. But yeah, we've had, I think there was one session we did have about 40 people. Um, and I don't know what the smallest we've ever had was, but it's general, we get a core group that starts coming every month, and then we have some stragglers, is usually how it ends up working. But it varies, and I can't say how many people will be in each meeting. But as of right now, we have about 12 people signed up. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
Yeah, we
Um,
usually have at the beginning of the year, we have 20 people in the first meeting, and then like very quickly we get
yeah,
the excuses, which is always fun. I would love it if everybody came to every meeting,
sure.
but I certainly understand that we're having embroidery class and you
Right.
have life.
Same with color. That's right. You have a life. This is not at the top of anyone's priority list. So you do your life, but try to fit this in when you can, and we'll be there. We'll be there to help you out.
Yeah. And that's the great thing is you can post your projects and post pictures and you get feedback and everybody is very kind.
Oh
I
yes,
think Andrea and I, if anybody were to, God forgive them,
yeah. No, nobody's gonna.
nobody's going to be cruel or mean or anything. Everybody's very kind and very supportive.
Yes, we
Um,
don't do cruel.
no,
If there is something critical, it will be said in a nice way to help you improve,
right.
not to actually be critical.
And if you're really
We don't need
sensitive
that.
about that, it's
Just let
okay
us
to tell
know.
us, look, I really can't take anything today. Fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're here to be leaders.
And if you missed, the last 2 months and you come the next month, you want to show us those projects that you did in the meantime, go right ahead. I would love to see the projects you did 2 months ago, even if that's not what we're talking about right now. Let's, share,
Awesome.
and you can
Yeah, we get
always.
I get
learn.
excited. People show me stuff that's not just embroidery. I love it
Oh
all.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, show me what you do.
Yeah.
I love any kind of craft.
Pretty much. Yes, that is true. And in the colored class, we've had painters, we've had photographers, we've had, other kinds. I mean, they were also, quilters. Um, but yeah, lots of different backgrounds that, have been using color in different ways, which is interesting.
Yeah. I'm excited. Now
Okay.
I'm waiting. Now I want it to be January, but I have to go do some more videos for that class. I have work to do.
Yeah, we still have some preparing to do to get ready, but by January we'll be ready and we'll be excited to have you guys in our classes. So go ahead and go to the website, click the links that are down below, and go check out the information for that, and then scan the QR code for the Thread Talks and sign up for that. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Well, we won't really see you, but um, you can join us tomorrow for the Thread Talks, and then we'll hopefully be seeing you in January in some embroidery or color classes.
Yeah.
Feel free to sign up for more than one. They'll
Absolutely.
definitely like work together.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fun. Mm.
Okay, well, I think that wraps it up for today. We will be back next week, same time, same place, and it will be live with Gotham Quilts. I
Get
think I finally got it right that time. Um, so have a good week, everybody, and we will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
it.
Good
Bye.
night.